There is a new Star Wars book coming out next month, February 25th, and that means there is a brand new updated timeline for all of the Star Wars novels. This is the new timeline that is in my arc of Reign of the Empire, The Mask of Fear, which comes out next month, February 25th. This is by Alexander Freed. It's a brand new trilogy of Star Wars books set over like a multi-year period covering the Reign of the Empire. Now, I usually don't pay that much attention to the timelines whenever a new Star Wars book comes out, but I wanted to look at this one specifically because I was thinking about where The Mask of Fear would sit on my shelf of Star Wars books, and I try really hard to keep my shelves updated and, organized in as close chronological order as possible. What's interesting about this timeline, beyond the inclusion of The Mask of Fear, where that happens on the timeline between the movies and things like that, is they now put Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade right after Attack of the Clones, as opposed to, I believe, previous books had it after Revenge of the Sith. Now, Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade is an interesting book because it's not unique. A lot of Star Wars books do this, but they take place over a longer period of time. Specifically, it kind of like crosses over movies. So it's not necessarily a book that just happens between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because a big part of the book, mainly like the last third of the book, happens after Revenge of the Sith. So Star Wars book nerds, collectors like me, we have to choose, okay, where do we want them on our shelves? Are we going to go by the official timeline that Star Wars puts in the books, or are we going to go by, okay, the book ends in this part of the timeline, so that's where I'm going to put it on my shelf? For me, I usually do go off the official Star Wars timeline that's included in the book, so I will probably you can't see it, but I will have to do a little bit of rearranging of my shelf to put Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade after Attack of the Clones, as opposed to where it's at now, which is right after Revenge of the Sith. Another thing that I noticed on this timeline, and I don't believe this was included in the Mace Windu book, but I will double check, they include the last High Republic book, which is Trials of the Jedi, and they also include the Acolyte novel Wayseeker, which comes out over the summer. Now, the question that you probably are all asking, where does The Mask of Fear go on the Star Wars timeline? Well, according to the official Star Wars timeline that goes in the book, it happens right after Revenge of the Sith. So if you are like me and you are organizing your shelf and you get your copy end of next month, end of February, where are you going to put it? You're going to put it right after the novelization of Revenge of the Sith. Now, these timelines are in the adult Star Wars books, so they do not include the young adult books or the middle grade ones, and I've had a heck of a time trying to figure out exactly where they go on the timeline on the shelf. Shout out to Wikipedia for helping me, and to the various Star Wars book groups that I'm on across social media. But if you have any questions about how I organize my Star Wars books, where they appear on the timeline, I would love to do a breakdown, a tour of my shelves.